Jamie. Okay. So, presence of mind. We're starting. We want presence of mind. And we said before that your mind is crazy. You're crazy. We're all crazy. We're overthinking the whole time. And we said there are two types of meditation. One is passive meditation. And passive meditation is to try and help us focus and center ourselves and anchor ourselves in the present moment. And then we have active meditation, which is to use our mind to try and arouse certain feelings and states of being. So we're going to start as always with everyone sitting up straight and just stretching a little bit. Neck first, neck and shoulders. Once again, I hope you're doing this every day and not just for 1 minute once a week when I do this for you. A few very deep breaths, sighing out, twisting in your chair. That's good. So he said, really, to come into the present moment, we need to focus our mind. Because our mind is always running to the future, or looking behind us, looking at the past, or looking at other people, what they have, focusing on not the here and now. So we said there are 7 things that can help us focus on the here and now. And number 1 is the breath. Your breath is very present. It's right here, so we focus on the breath. And then we said your thoughts and your emotions. Just observing how you feel, observing what you're thinking without getting drowned in your thoughts and your emotions, just inquisitively, curiously watching. And the other thing is the 5 senses, our 5 senses. So last week we did something about just touch, the senses, the sensations in our body. And we moved up our body and our feet and our legs and our stomachs and our arms. So today I want to focus on listening. Just listening. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit up straight. And just take a few very, 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 very deep, very steady, very slow, very conscious breaths through your nose. And feel your lungs filling up. And when your lungs are full, just very gently release. Gently and slowly release your breath until you get into a flow. So I'm actually going to count. So if everyone just breathes out now, breathe all the air out of your lungs. And I'm going to count 5 counts of breathing in from now. 1, 2, breathing in, 3, 4, 5, and release, breathing out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release, breathing out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now I want you to focus all of your attention to just listening to the sounds all around you. And trying not to focus necessarily on one of the sounds, Just let all the sounds come in, and maybe you're actually sitting in a very quiet room and there aren't any sounds. So just listen harder, even quiet sounds. Maybe your computer's making a little humming noise. Just try and pick up very sensitively all the sounds coming from all around you. Not judging the sounds, not judging yourself. Once again, whenever your mind then starts wondering, I can't do this, I can do this, all the thoughts and judgments, just smile at your mind. Don't get frustrated with the exercise. Don't get frustrated with yourself. Just smile. Back to focusing all your attention on your hearing, your sense of hearing. And just let the sounds of the world enter your consciousness. Once again, even the sound of your own thoughts, just watch them. The sound of your own breath. And try and notice the silence in between the sounds. Every sound arises out of silence and falls back into silence. Okay, just 2 or 3 more deep breaths. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. This is a very, very practical meditation because you can do it when you're sitting in the park, when you're sitting on the bus. You can do it at all times. Just stop for a moment and tune into your sense of hearing. Bring yourself into the present moment. And it also helps, by the way, if people even insult you or difficult things happen, rather than getting hooked and caught immediately, just you can hear, okay, it's just a sound. It's just a sound. I'm going to choose how I react to it. I'm not going to let it dictate me. I'm going to just observe it and react and not react and act in a positive way to it. Yofi, have a wonderful sound week.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. Maybe feeling a little mellow after some breathing with Dr. there. I want to do something a little interactive just in the 5 minutes that we have together. We've been spending so much time talking about spending so much time talking about thought and how kind of thinking really affects us. And it's the thesis that we try and share on the program, that so much more of your reality is created by your thought. than what is actually going on around you. And I was hoping you guys might do me a favor today. And I wanted to ask that we use the chat here, and speak a little bit about thought and how it affects your decisions, right? And that would mean, to just give you an example, my daughter posted something on Instagram about something. Actually, kind of a beautiful post earlier on, just before the weekend, and then she got some really, really terrible, really violent anti-Semitic abuse online from it, and it hit her really hard. It really hurt her and really upset her. Someone feels this way and someone thinks this way, and they reported the guy, and I think he'll be banned from Instagram or whatever it is, But it just got me thinking again about how deeply our own thoughts, our own experience of things, that really makes us feel the way that we feel. The fact that some jerk left some horrible, violent language on her page in a message to her, but that's not what made her feel bad. What made her feel bad is the way that she interacted with it, the thoughts it gave her, the way she felt about what it means about the world at this time, etc., etc. So I was just hoping that everyone could maybe share in the chat an area where they feel that in their lives that their thoughts are complex, that their thoughts hold them back from actually really accomplishing or actually interacting with things in the proper way. An example for me personally, I'm just saying, is that, for me, I tend to kind of, my nature is to go negative before I remind myself there's another way of looking at things. So if things, if something happens, I'll tend to kind of always view, oh, it's going to go really wrong over here, and then I'll feel it like it already did, even though it didn't. And I have to kind of pull myself back from that and remind myself, hang on, I've got different options of how to interpret or how to experience this, and based on that, that's how my mood is going to follow. I don't know if I'm being coherent, if you guys understand. Maybe you can tell me in the chat if you know what I mean, and maybe just take a moment to write something, like an area where you feel that you get caught up in your own thoughts. Nothing too deep or revealing or anything like that. Can you guys help me out here? You happy to write something? I'm going to wait here and see what comes up on the chat. Did anyone hear me? I'm not getting any responses, which is fine if people don't want to write. I just moved the microphone closer to my mouth. Apparently it was hard to hear me. So what we're looking for over here is the examples in your own life where you feel your thoughts about a given experience trip you up and take you into like not the best place. So I'm saying for me, I tend to go negative, right? I tend to go negative. Studying for exams. Okay, Heather, what happens when we study for exams? Just, you get all thinky about it, right? Oh, yeah, very good. Waiting before I say something about upset. These are things that you know how to do right, and yet you get caught up in your thinking and you do it wrong, right? Is there anything else from anybody? So I really want everyone to try and take this with them if they can. That, the idea of being successful, 100%, that's a big confusion, right? So, learning how to take a step back and realize that you have the right to interact with an experience whichever way you choose. To choose to not be offended by something, right? To choose to feel compassionate, to feel love in a situation where your nature might be not to choose to give in a situation where your nature might be to take, or to do nothing. These are all really big things, and learning to step back and be aware is huge. It's really huge, and gives you freedom, gives you real freedom in terms of being who you really want to be, and living the life that you really kind of want, that you really want to live. So I just want to. I have a very short session. Alana's here now. She's gonna jump in for 10 or 15 minutes. But I want everyone to practice this week, if you're able to, just taking a step back from your natural reactions. Try and practice this, and just become aware of different options, and try it again. Try, if you're studying for exams and you normally get worried you're going to fail, try and experience what it feels like to think about, I'm just going to try my hardest and see what happens, right? Or learning how to wait before you say something if something's upsetting you, or learning how to pull back a little bit and to change your definition of being successful, right? To feel that differently, etc., etc. These are really key and important principles. Anyway, I'm going to pass over to Alana. Hope everyone's doing really well. Have an amazing week. I can't wait to hear Ashish in a few minutes, but until then, here's Lana.
Hello. Okay, yeah, feel free to put your cameras on if you want. It's so much friendlier, but you don't have to. Okay, all right. So today, question that comes up very often is, well, it's all very well, all this dating advice and everything, but where on earth do we find these wonderful people? Okay, where do we find these wonderful people? So that's what we're going to discuss today. And in order to do this, I'm going to mention something very weird that I heard is cited in the Talmud, and we'll work from there. Okay, and by the way, I'm not advising this, obviously, I hope, but there's lessons to be learned from the weird things that the Talmud mentions. And apparently the Talmud says that it's a sort of a shame that a man can't marry his sister, because that will be an ideal spouse. Okay. Now, obviously, we don't marry our sisters or our brothers, but what does that mean? Why would it be so helpful for a boy to marry his sister or a girl to marry her brother? Well, what would happen is, you see, all those areas of difficulty would sort of disappear. You wouldn't have problems with your mother-in-law, right? You'd come from the same culture, from the same background. You'd probably like the same food. You probably understand each other. You wouldn't have to explain your idiosyncrasies or weirdnesses. There is so much cultural overlap and values overlap that, to begin with, you'd be at a major advantage. And people often ask me, what's the role of things like culture in a relationship? And it's true that people from different cultures can marry each other very nicely, but every time you have something that is understood without having to be explained, you have a little head start, right? When my husband mentions like a stupid British comedian, right, and I know what he means because I remember them from when I was a little girl. So there's suddenly an area of understanding that doesn't have to explain from scratch. It's just a little bit less work. And it's interesting because we tend not to really bring that into account when we think about our dating worlds. Okay, very often we have our world, our daytime world, and in our daytime world we may have things like our friend, our job, our career, the part of our lives where we use our intellect, where we derive satisfaction, where we give of ourselves. And then we've been taught to create this enormous switch when it comes to our relationships. Then it comes the evening, right? And people dress in a way that doesn't at all, sort of give over the deeper parts of who they are. You walk into a club and you see someone who's just dressed really cool and, who during the day wears a big business suit, right? Or, we have this complete other life. And in that other life, that sort of wound down, relax, forget about everything that's important to me, let me just enjoy myself life. Right, that's where we hope to find our romance, okay? Now, just take a look at how completely ridiculous that is, okay? During the day, I'm a school teacher, for example, right? I dress modestly, I do what I love to do, I do what I've trained to do, I look after small children, I give with all my heart, I impact the next generation. And at night, I'm like a crazy clubber. And here I hope to find my husband or my wife, right? It's a very interesting thing that we've been taught to make a distinction between our romantic life and our, everything else life, our sensible life, our values life, our giving life, our friendship life, our family life. And to some degree, this is really asking for trouble. We're asking to view our romantic relationships as a break from everything else that really counts to us. We're seeking to find things that are important to us in places where we are, taking a break from things that are important to us. And then surprise, surprise, you find it very unsatisfactory, because people will tell me, like, I went out for the night to find a relationship, but everybody was really shallow. Okay, and it's funny because everybody says the same thing. All right, of course you're in shallow mode. You're in fun. Let it all out. Have something to drink. Put away the sensible side of you and the giving side of you and the educated side of you, and just have some fun. Okay. So I want to suggest that, of course, it's going to be difficult, and of course it's going to be unsatisfying. And actually, when we're looking for a partner, we're looking for a partner for life. You don't want someone that, you enjoyed not being you around. You want someone who had a full appreciation for who you are very deeply. You want someone who loves what you do during the day, who values you enormously, who wants to be part of your understanding of what it means to make an impact of the world, who wants to share your goals, who has the same goals as you, who wants to see what you look like without your makeup and find that beautiful, or without your, flashy outfits and find that beautiful. The people that we're seeking most deeply to connect with, they're not found in our break from the real us. They are found in the real us. And it strikes me, therefore, that we might want to start thinking slightly differently about where to find our partners. It strikes me, therefore, that it's a good idea to say, well, if I value reading, I'm more likely to find a partner, a values partner, or even a deep friend in a group of people that value reading. Maybe I need to join a book club and go to the library, right? If I value volunteering, I'm more likely to find a spouse on a Justifi trip, right? Than I am, at a party of people who are doing things that I, like to do to chill out, but I wouldn't be seen dead doing in my real life. Okay, if the things that I care about most deeply, that's actually where I seek to find partnership, because I want my life to be about the things that I seek most deeply. But I want to have fun, so find your values partner. Make sure that you can have fun also. We want it to be an all-inclusive package. But this distinction between that which is important to me and that which I do all day long and that which I care deeply about, that boring side of me, and the sort of superficial, dressed up, relaxed side of me where I'm going to find my romance, that is not helping us at all. So I would encourage, and by the way, you see this phenomenon, you see, there was a joke when I was a kid, because there was this one particular sort of summer vacation, which was volunteering with kids who were unwell. And it was a joke because all the male counselors and all the female counselors ended up dating and getting married. Now why is that? Because it's a fantastic pool of people who all want to dedicate the summers to do such a thing. They've got so many things in common already, right? By the way, if everybody who went abseiling were into, thrill sports, then if they sat and had real conversations there, they'd probably find a lot in common over there. We're not talking about limiting, our pool to one type. We're saying, let me get very deeply into what I really care about, and let me build my relationships, my romantic relationships, my friendship relationships from within that pool. It's such a shame to look at the people that I work with, volunteer with, care with, share goals with as, no, that's not romantic. Those are just my deep beloved friends. I need to go find romance somewhere more sexy. Okay, it's a mistake. There is a tremendous beauty in finding romance with people with whom you share your deepest passions. That's long lasting. That's forever. That's not 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. or till 1 a.m. That's who you really are. The satisfaction of sharing a life with people with whom you share your deepest passions is much more exciting and eventually romantic than it is when you take a break from the part of you that you feel is sort of too sensible, or too idealistic or too everyday to find romance. So let's shift away from this very unhelpful culture of separating who we are romantically from who we are on our deepest levels. And let's really appreciate that the deepest form of romance is when we find partnerships with people with whom we share our deepest passions. Is that a hand that went up? No. Okay. All right. So yeah, it's a shift. It's a shift. But it's such a beautiful and deep shift. You know, figure out who you are and surround yourself with people who would appreciate who you really are. Don't think it's more exciting to find a total stranger who would laugh when you tell them what you most love. Think it exciting to be around someone who would say when you tell them what you most care about, me too. And guess what? That's why we're both here. Okay, so that would be my advice. Let's reconnect our search for romance with our search for our deepest values, and let's make those two pools overlap, and stop worrying about trying to find something new and exciting elsewhere. New and exciting is often found right with our favorite people in our favorite circles, if we look with open eyes to that. So that would be my advice for today. And I would again like to ask if anybody has any particular questions or themes that they want to see addressed in this little relationships aspect of the Power Hour. Please send me a message. You can private message me on the group. You can send it to ilanacowland@gmail.com, whatever you want. I would love to make sure that I'm hitting the spot in terms of what you want to be learning. And have a wonderful week, and I'll pass you over.
Okay, thank you very much, Ilana. I'm very happy this week that we have a wonderful guest, wonderful friend, Ashish Shukla, who's connecting to us from Agra, India. Agra is north central India. It's a town, it's a city, I should say. It's a city of about 1.5 million people, which makes it roughly like Philadelphia, although in many ways it is not like Philadelphia at all. Ashish is a fascinating person who has dedicated himself to a very important cause, dealing with domestic violence issues and things along those lines. He runs an organization that runs a campaign called Stop Acid Attacks. And it's quite literally like it sounds. And unfortunately, there's a prevalence of a particular type of domestic abuse that happens in many forms in India, where people are literally throwing acid on people, and an attack of a mere few seconds can disfigure someone and effectively ruin their lives. And Ashish is involved in many aspects of this problem. Ashish, thank you so much for joining us. We've had a chance to greet you and be greeted by you in your facility in Agra. We've been there a couple of times already on Justifi trips. Ashish, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and your organization.
Okay. So first of all, everyone, namaste from India, and thank you for this opportunity. And my name is Ashish Shukla, and I am a campaigner of Stop Acid Attack, and I'm founder of Shiro's Hangout as well. So is my little intro. And if you talk about my organization and Chao Foundation, what exactly we are doing here with the help of Chao Foundation. So our organization is Chao Foundation is a non-profit organization. So India working for rehabilitation of acid attack survivors. We started our work with the campaign Stop Acid Attacks, and we raised the unheard voices of acid attack survivors throughout acid attacks. Stop Acid Attack in 2013. The campaign Stop Acid Attack advocate about the case of acid attacks which were never considered as heinous as they were supposed to be. These cases were considered very much similar to pickpocket cases, in which caused hardly 3 months prison, and the matter of fact was going. So now we are working in 3 projects, like a Reach Out project and Shiro's Home and Shiro's Education Training Program and Shiro's Hangout. So our important project is Shiro's Hangout Cafe, and which focus on the livelihood of the survivors. So we are working on 3 and 4 projects. So recently we are going with 4 projects.
Ashish, can you tell us a little bit about the victims? what is an acid attack? Why do people throw acid? Who are the victims, and what's their story?
If you talk about what is the acid attack, so acid attack is a kind of violent assault in which the attacker throw acid or a similar substance on body of victim with the intention of disfigure or torture her. The intention is mainly to spoil the life of victim and not to kill. So in the most of such cases, sulfuric acid is used for attack, and it affects the skin and body very badly. Other than the physical effects, the victim have to suffer social, psychological, and the mental effects as acid attacks change the whole life of the victim. And who are the typical victims? So if you talk about the victims, if you see the various cases, the most of survivors acid attacks are women and the typical young girls. And the most of common reason for attacks on women and the girls is the refusal of marriage and the denial, the sexual rejection of men and boys. It is an the expression of control over women and the girls' bodies. So acid attack occur the mostly in those countries who follows the patriarchal concept, and patriarchal concept means men have a domination or a man is superior to women. So in the most of the countries where acid attacks happen, men and boys are the typical attacker of acid attacks. In the patriarchal society, destroying a woman's appearance can destroy her access to the marriage, resources, work opportunity, and education.
Wow. So just so I understand, so the majority of acid attacks that happen are the attackers are known to the victims. It's boyfriends, husbands, other family members. Wow.
Yeah. Jealous lover, and you can say that now the violence is not a gender bias. We working with some male survivor as well. So now acid is available in the retail market easily. So you can buy in India 10 rupees bottle like a water bottle, and you can buy. We have a regulation policies as well after the 2030, but you can buy because administrative didn't follow rule and regulation. So that's why we can buy easily. So just like water bottle, you give a 10 rupees, it's like a cheaper than to $1, and so you can buy and you can put pure on acid.
Wow.
Anybody.
10 rupees for a bottle of acid. That's about 15 cents. That's cost this equivalent. Wow, really unbelievable. Now, when a victim is attacked, obviously I've seen it myself. The disfiguration is really staggering and very scary at times. What types of discrimination or other obstacles do the victims face? It's somewhat normal, I guess, but how does society relate to the victims?
The society, if you talk about the Indian society, because we are living a patriarchal society, so that's why the women didn't follow the order of men. So if you believe in the independency, so if women think about I want to become independent, so if your father tell you no, you don't do that. So everybody wants to hold on women in India. So that's why we are facing the problems here, not a acid violence, domestic violence, everything, molestation. You can identify. The people of India reported more cases in the police station, but more of the cases. So you can understand the challenge of the women of India is very, very pathetic. So if we talk about in rural area, so because the women is not more aware about the more things, so they all the time they are victimized by the society, and in particular in terms of as a patriarchal society. So that's a big challenge in India. So
now tell us a little bit about Shiro's Hangout. You have a beautiful cafe. You're providing services there. What do you do?
Yeah, and I'll tell you that our important project is a Shiro's Hangout Cafe, which focus on the livelihood of the survivors. And acid attacks adversely affect the quality of life of victim and on account of the injuries suffered by them. Other than the physical damage, and victim also undergo long-term emotion and the mental trauma. And if we talk about the Shiro's, the Chao Foundation initiated the formation of Cafe of Shiro's Hangout in 2014 to provide the numerous job opportunity to the survivors from Pan India. Since the girl were the heroes, it was named as She Plus Heroes. You can She Plus Heroes. So it was a unique cafe that runs on the concept of pay as you wish. And the other highlight of the cafe is doesn't ask any specific education qualification. The cafe is not the only mode of earning a livelihood to the survivors, but it is also provide an opportunity to the mass public to meet the survivors of acid attacks and understand their stigmas who were boycotted by the society for the mistakes which they had never committed. Similarly, another such live cafe is being run by these survivors in Lucknow. So till today, Chao Foundation was benefited more than 100 acid attack survivors in their medical, compensation, legal, and employment.
Wow, amazing. So you have 2 cafes now in 2 different cities. You're employing 100 victims, helping them with job training, education. And I understand you also run, you have a home, like a rehabilitation home for women and their children?
Shiro's home.
Yeah.
Shiro's home. I'll tell you Shiro's home. So Shiro's home is a place where survivors stay together after a reach out. The major issues was a safe place to stay the survivors, because survivors from every nook and corner of India reach out to us with the acceptance that we will provide them with a shelter and organize their treatment and post-treatment. So hygiene place was also important for them, because immediately after treatment, the survivors can't travel for long period. So also there was a need of a safe house for the survivors from where they can get a proper counseling, and thus to provide them a safe hygiene home near the best one special hospital in India. So for the most treatment stay and treatment stay and counseling, we built a Shiro's home, which at a present is situated in Noida as a place near to the Delhi.
Right. So I know Noida, it's a suburb of Delhi. So you have a home there. And how many women typically live in the home, and how many children?
It's a depend on when maybe in one time 10 people, and if his treatment is not going, so that's why it's maybe 2 or 3 survivors while staying and take our education and training as well.
Now, this is a very scary phenomena. Like, it's hard for me to even hear it, and I've seen it a few times up close. What is the government doing about this? Do they make laws, special laws to help prevent this, to protect victims, to stop the attackers? Where is the government in all of this?
So if you talk about the prevention, so and government is working its own ways. Under Indian penal laws, before an important amendment of 2013, the crime of acid attacks not taken seriously. But in 2013, new provision were added in penal law to enhance the punishment for acid attacks. And the Poison Act 1919 was also amendment in 2013 and classifying acids and the other corrosive substance as a poison. In July 2013, the Supreme Court of India directed the government to frame rules to regulate the sale of acid. And another such substance, after the the Supreme Court of India direction, the government has also agreed to classify acids under the Poison Act 1919. The Supreme Court of India also ruled that acid should only be sold to those over 13 years and on the production of the government issued photograph identification, including a residential address. The seller must note down the reason for buying and the quantity, with the punishment for non-compliance being a fine of to 700 USD. The institution which need asset for work have to also follow certain guidelines while purchasing and storing it, as well as name the responsible person. So, as per the information provided the National Crime Record Bureau, NCRB, the years 2013, 2012, and 2013, the witnesses 83, 85, 86 cases, but the number rose markedly to 309 in 2014. After 2013, because we got amendment, so that's why we registered in 2014 309 cases. So almost 4 times the average number of asset attacks in the preceding years. The number of asset attacks in India was 222 in 2015 and 283 in 2016 and 244 in 2017. So after got amendment in 2013, so that's why we have a record of asset attacks number in India who registered in police station, local police station. So now we have data after 2013. Before 2013, we don't have any registered data in India because we don't have any specific law for asset violence.
Wow. So it sounds like the government is trying to make laws to prevent distribution of the acid and prevent crimes from happening. Are they also helping on the other side, helping on the rehabilitation? Do you get funding from the government? You're running, you have multiple properties. You're running 2 cafes. You have a rescue home. You're helping people get medical services. Is the government helping fund you and your staff and pay salaries and the properties? So you're running a significant organization.
No, we are not getting any help from government right now. So we are depend on the journal, public, and crowdfunding, our own efforts, and cafe as well. So Shiro's Hangout is the resource of main foundation of where we get here from the funds, and then we given a salary and operations as well. So we are 75% dependency on Shiro's Hangout cafes. Nowadays the lockdown is going on, so cafe is shut down. So that's a big challenge for as a non-profit organization.
I'm glad you brought up the lockdown. Let's talk a little bit about Corona and COVID-19. How is that impacting Agra? How is it impacting you? How is it impacting Shiro's? The women getting treatment? Corona is obviously a big thing. For those who haven't been to India, in Agra, where Ashish is also the home of the Taj Mahal, one of the most beautiful places on earth. He's living literally a mile or two away from, and it's an economy that's largely based on tourism, as you can imagine. So Ashish, how is Corona impacting things in Agra and at Shiro's?
So this Corona is as a globally global pandemic, so that's why everybody is suffering from this COVID-19 virus. So the coronavirus pandemic causes the increased anxiety and that definitely causes fear in our minds. Like this pandemic, there is something equally nasty and the threatening called asset attacks, and which everyone is not well aware, and in the result of country has a witness averagely more than 250 to 300 incidents of this heinous crime of asset attacks every year. So as the crisis around the pandemic grows, the livelihoods of many survivors and their families surviving on daily wages so have been shaken up, and there are many who are dependent on others at the high risk during the difficult period. And as the coronavirus hit the various countries across the global due to the highly by the global pandemic, and where various countries have been put to complete lockdown due to this virus. In this very high atmosphere, both the outlets of Shiro's Hangout have been shut off accordingly. The closing of the cafe has directly affected of the livelihood of the survivor associated with the cafe. So that's a problem. I'll tell you, first I'm telling you, because we are depending on the cafes. So the 75% funding is given by the cafe. So that's why it's a problem, but life's going on. They didn't stop. So that's why we are going on.
By the way, I'll mention a few people have messaged me in the chat here saying that they'd like to help out, and anyone who would like to help support Ashish and Shiro's Cafe is welcome to be in touch with us, and we're happy to obviously send the funding along. We're always happy to support our friends and partners doing very, very important work. Ashish, can you share with us something positive? Tell us a good story. I know over the years you've had a lot of successes.
So
I've met some of the amazing women that you work with. Despite their medical challenges and emotional challenges, they have smiles on their faces. They're looking to be friendly, looking to accomplish and become heroes and not victims. So I'm sure you have some great stories for us.
So, and if you talk about the positive aspect, so it's a depend on your mind and your thoughts. So if you want to become a positive, so think about like a sun. So you think like a moon. So maybe you can gain energy. So when we start a campaign that time, 2013, so we started with a very positive because we don't have any support from government, any financial support. So we started with every initiative with the positive notes, and now as the pandemic is going on, but we didn't get in the depression, and we didn't tell the survivors and my teammates as well. We tell the situation is bad, but we work here, and maybe in lockdowns we provide a good amount to the survivors for a livelihood. So now cafe is closed, but we are raising some fund with the help of some people and with the help of crowdfunding. So now everything is going is good in terms of it's not every survivor is not who connect the Shiros hangout. So now at the Shiros as a CHAW, we are against the victimization, and through the acid attack affects brutally and change a life of the person to the victim. But we believe and we see them as heroes. For me, Ritu, Neetu, Geeta, Madhu, who all are not a victim. They are survivors and who have survived and fought for their existence and proved themselves. And life is not the bed of roses either. Neither it is the bed of thorns. The person is himself or herself responsible for making her life either the bed of roses or the bed of thorns. Moving out the something around the getting success in every field of a life never comes to you on its own. So you have to work hard to get to it. At the Shiros, nothing was easy for us at the beginning. Reaching out the survivors, giving them hope, managing the things and fundraising, meetings, planning and action, all was really difficult for us. But we never forget that everything is really hard before it get easy. So, and it is work, all the hard work, all the sacrifice, all the sleepless nights, struggles and downfalls paid off the somewhere. Today we are able to rehabilitate many acid attack survivors. So it's a really good and very positive things, because we started with 5 survivors. Now that 30 survivors working here, and we benefited 100 survivors. So that's the positive, and it is the positive. And if you are work with 100 survivors, that's you increasing your family, and you provide the good assistance, like in terms of finance, in terms of education, in terms of advocacy, in terms of children education. So we are work like as a family, and you visited in cafe and you saw the whole things, and the girls who learn henna art, so who put on henna, on the ladies who come to the cafe and they want to bring them henna. So we are working on different. Now we are working on online. So everybody learning. The survivors is learning mobile banking, social media, and they take a counseling in the online platform. We were working on workshop as well. So we are working, and we didn't want to everybody went to same position when we reach out them. So we want to make a positive atmosphere where women can get involved and they can pursue own dreams in pandemic.
Ashish, thank you so much. It's so inspiring to hear all the great work that you're doing, and
just a
please.
minute. I want to say, if anybody wants to understand what about Shiro's Hangout, so I'll give a link of Shiro's Hangout video where you can see saw the Hangout. Maybe I am right now in Shiro's Hangout, so you can see the wings of spoons. As you can see, if I'll say the wings, and we make a wings of cutlery. So if you see the cafe, so maybe you like it because it's a very different and very colorful and very energetic. So I want to share. So if you can with the people who heard my voice, so you can spread the link. They can better understand.
I don't know if you can with your phone now,
because my English is not good, so that's why I'm telling.
Your English is fantastic.
It's perfect. I don't know if you can with your phone, but if you'd like, you're welcome to give us a 1-minute tour of the cafe. I realize it's empty, but it is a beautiful place.
Yeah. I'll try how to flip the camera. Maybe give me a minute.
Okay, no problem. So thank you, Ashish.
Because,
we've been there a few times, and it's a wonderful place, and you've been so hospitable to us.
So I'll give a tour. So maybe so now is a lockdown. So is a pandemic going on. So that's a artwork here. So if you have the place, so that's an entry gate. So you can enter here, and some of Hollywood star was here, and so that's a notice board where we put on all the details, what is our requirement, and what we here are mainly are about the education project we are mentioned here. And you can see the part of cafe and the doodling here. We mentioned our journey here with the help of doodling. So we are not, here is not what completed box, so it's empty. So that's a handmade items here. So that's a counter. Now the manager is not here because due to pandemic. So there's a German first lady was here. So that's a poster. And some of lady of our organization, teammate survivors did TEDx. So you can see, so that's a library here. So there's a graffiti. So you can.
Okay, beautiful. Ashish, thank you so much for sharing with us, for inspiring us, and giving us a wonderful tour as well.
Thank you.
And we're looking for, Justifi is looking forward to coming back to India soon. As soon as we can get back there, we're looking forward to bringing many
we are eagerly waiting for guests because the cafe is empty. So because cafe is positive, because when the guests come and it's like we are feeling like our family member is not here. This guests are our family members, so that's we are missing. And survivors when come here cafe and this is bhaiya in India is bhaiya. So we are waiting when the cafe is open, when the guests come here and we serve and host them. So everybody are thinking about that. So when the cafe is open and when the Agra is open and pandemic is going on.
Well, we
so
can't
hopefully
Ashish, we can't wait to come back, and we can't wait to tell a lot of the people who couldn't be on the call today, to tell them about today. They'll watch the video, to send out the links to watch the video, and we can't wait to partner with you again soon and to bring more people. And thank you for. It's so difficult what you do. It's so difficult, but it's so important, and it's a very special thing that a man like you can open your heart so profoundly, and it's a very big lesson for all of us to be able to work in something that's so difficult just out of the love that you have in your heart. It's very inspiring for us, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, guys, thank you everyone for coming. Please feel free to forward the Facebook Live around to friends or other alumni that you think would benefit from it. And on behalf of Brian and myself, and this week from Ashish, we look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.